Cindy will join us so that we have a full complement of people. Okay, do we have any public input?
We do not.
Okay, so then I move to approve the TAC meeting minutes from October 25th,
which we can't do without the quorum.
which we can't do because we only have 2 people. Okay, so
I was
then,
just gonna say, with my last name is SCHERR, not EER, but I don't care that much.
what's that? No, no, no.
I'll make that change.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, EER, I got you. So it's here's ERR. Okay. No, it does make a difference. A lot of times people will put Erica with a K
Yeah.
and I happen to spell it with a C. It's all good. Okay.
That's correct.
Is Jim from Oak Hills with us?
No.
I do not see him
Okay,
either.
Okay, so then let's do, clearly, Paul, we're not gonna go through all of these addresses here, but we do have quite an impressive number of trees in the ground. So, I mean, I think everybody deserves a huge kudos. 221 trees have been put in the ground fall 2022. I think that is, you know, really, it's going to be a hard number to beat.
That's what I was saying.
Too high.
Yeah,
But this is
and we have 9
fantastic.
more that have been ordered that'll probably be put in the next day or early next week. And that'll bring the
Okay,
total of 230.
Awesome. That is fantastic.
That's an even harder number to beat.
Yes, now that you just made it even harder. And then with Olmsted, I know they've been sending you their watering and their maintenance schedule, Paul. Any abnormalities there? Everything looks good?
No, they've been doing work replacing some of the trees that they could do at this point with the arborvitaes, like over at 15 Madison where Sonia lives. So they're working on replacements where they can do them at this point, and then the watering is gone according to schedule.
And you think that'll be finished, those will be replaced this fall?
Oh, there's some of them that have already been done, yes.
Okay, beautiful. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. And then I was, because of work commitments, unable to attend some of the meetings with South Norwalk residents and the Dr. Martin Luther King Drive Corridor Initiative. I know, Paul, Rich, you were also at that meeting?
Yeah, I thought the maps were awesome.
When you say the maps, can you just elaborate a little? The maps were where they were going to plant where people wanted it, where people were actually able to put the trees.
Yep, I sat down with a group of people and we actually took little green dots and we located areas that were in need of trees, and then they have different groups doing the same. And I'm assuming everything got consolidated and given back to you, Paul.
Yes, and with the group of people, it was a variety of city employees plus people on the Dr. Martin Luther King Initiative Committee, Rich from the Tree Advisory Committee. And what we ended up doing was there was 5 groups of people to put them together, and we're going to take those maps now and scan those and consolidate it all into one map so that we've got a full plan of where people have requested trees, and then we can start gradually working on that list, putting them in, and as we put them in, we'll locate them and then turn them green, because at this point they'll be like red dots to be done, and then they'll be turned green. And we're looking at trying to do something. We met with Jessica Bonachek, who organized that, and met with her in IT. And we're going to try and see if we can't put something out on the city website for the public to be able to view and then select where they would like them and then work off of that.
That's great. I think having that interactive system was a great idea. But from what I understand, when you were using that interactive system, you didn't have access to, or correct me if I'm wrong, where there was, you know, sidewalk or concrete, or, you know, like it wasn't as easy. Like you say, oh, look, it looks like there are no trees here. Let's put some trees there. But that's different from actually being able to put trees in. Does that make sense?
What it ended up, basically, it was aerial photos of the area, and we had one map on the cover that was a smaller scale. It would cover the whole area in the grant initiative area. And then what we did is we took and plotted larger drawings so that when people flipped the pages, they could go to the page they wanted to see. And it was a lot bigger so that you could start to see some of the sidewalks and where the trees were. So you were
Awesome.
able to see some of that, yes. But
That's
all of
great.
it's gonna have to be final checked in the field.
Sure, but at least that makes where people were doing putting the green dots more possible than if
Yes.
they were just randomly putting them in places where it just seemed that there wasn't a lot of canopy cover. That's really cool. And then when did they anticipate having, you know, some kind of like a final map of where stuff's gonna go?
We're starting to try and assemble that in the IT and GIS in our office right now. And then what we'll end up doing is putting it together so that this can be put out on the website, and hopes that we'll have areas that we can be ready to go for planting in the spring of 23.
That's awesome. Awesome, awesome. Okay. Arbor Day celebration. Were you able to get in touch with the school?
Yes, I was in touch with the principal of Rowayton Elementary School, and she said she'd be honored to have it there. So we will be
Great.
doing it at Rowayton Elementary School in 2023.
That's fantastic. So Rowayton.
Hey Cindy, did she buy out the store?
That's not the store where she was working. This is a different location. Oh, there you are. Did she buy out the store? I was saying because Cindy owns this one now. Cloud9, a little plug. Nice to see you, Cindy. We skipped over an agenda item to approve the minutes from our last meeting on October 25th because there was not enough TAC members to do that. But now that you've joined us, we can do that. So I don't know if anyone else had a chance to go through them. I thought they looked great.
I looked them over. I thought they looked great as well.
Yeah. So I moved to approve them with just the spelling of Jeff's name. Other than that, we're good.
Second motion to approve as modified with Jeff's name.
Perfect.
Scanned it.
Okay. Jeff, you're up, NTA.
Hey, everybody. So I don't have anything other than Paul and I walked 9 and marked out 9 trees, 4 for sure, sugar maples, and 4 little leaf lindens over at Ponus Ridge Elementary School on Monday yesterday. And there was one potentially for planting in the spring. It was sort of a design that 6th grade elementary school teacher Joe came to us with, and we worked through the city with you guys and Paul and everyone to be able to make that happen. So that was awesome. And then my final thing would be December 11th. It's a Sunday, from 4 to 6 p.m. at Forder Farm. We're having our annual open house fundraiser. So just opening the invite to you all, and hope you can make it. And
That's
happy
great.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I got that email about the fundraiser there. It looks really nice. Great. So
Yeah,
in
it'll be fun.
yeah. No, it looks really good, and that's a great place to host things. In other business, I would just like to let everyone know that the DEEP grant that we earned is being approved by Common Council. The mayor's gonna sign off on it, and we are ready to move forward on that. We have already met with some key folks over at Norwalk Housing Authority, and we kind of shared our vision, and everybody's really excited to work with each other on that. The other thing I wanted to mention is that the Norwalk Library is going to join in, and we're gonna see where we can put one of those book boxes, you know, the take a book, leave a book kind of thing, or, you know, books from the library outside of the Children's Learning Center. I think that would be, you know, a really great addition. So we're going to work together for placement. So it all makes sense and it all works. So we have trees and we have the new picnic bench, maintenance free, and the book box. So it's turning into a pretty exciting project. Does anyone else have any other business?
I don't know, maybe I'll tune in tomorrow.
Hey, Mr. Pete.
I was redlining drawings and I completely forgot.
No, that's okay. It's a short week. And so I think we're all trying to condense everything into like 2.5 days. So absolutely fine.
So Professor Kipp, where did we leave our tree tags? I'd forgotten where I left that with you.
I think the last that I read, you were going to get a different size to
Different
him
size.
because you had printed up one of the actual ones, and that's what he based the price on.
Yeah.
And when you printed it up, it was like kind of ginormous. That's a pretty big tree tag.
So this is what our first take was. I asked Colin to cut it out and it was too big, but it's a tree tag. So our next take was this, which is still pretty large. So I think I'll go back and look at the dimensions. I think what I was looking to you two is, what is it that we're gonna put on?
Right. So the
And what
tree
size
tag,
does the lettering have to be that people can see it from a car?
from afar, right? Normally, they say even if you're doing like a poster presentation,
Like 3 inches.
like the size font should be somewhere around 20 to 24. That's kind of an industry at a minimum. You know, they usually say 24 to 36, but 24 is good for like titles and things. 26, 28 is somewhere in that area. So when you do a poster presentation, so that as you're standing not on top of it, you
Yeah.
can read at least the title. So I would probably say something along those lines would make sense. We want to just say, you know, to kind of keep it simple, just like a tree planted by Norwalk Tree Advisory Committee. And then maybe we can put something a little bit smaller on the bottom, like "want a tree?" ? And then put our
Oh, no.
our website.
No, because people, everyone will come in for that, but I think you say tree planted by Norwalk Tree, this is a gift from the Norwalk Tree Advisory Committee. You know, steward it, take care of it, because everyone will call you for a tree and make us crazy. But the point is, I think, what is it we want?
Really? You think that many people will actually stop and read it and take it and call?
I think the
I
people
mean-
are gonna call are individuals who may not be apprised of our programming. And, you know, it'll take us more time to work with them than will suit our objectives. I mean, the objective is this, to put our face out there and say, this is a gift from the city of Norwalk, managed by the Tree Advisory Committee. We're greening the streets. I mean, what is the messaging? Very simple.
Right, so I think our message is twofold, and part of it is to let people know about our program, because the program is a viable program that's been around for so long, and I'm constantly hearing from people that they had no idea Norwalk planted trees. So I think that the original idea was, we started out as like a lawn sign, but I agree with Peter, lawn signs become an eyesore and they just become like, you know, garbage. So, but the lawn sign was just kind of spitballing as a way to put something on the trees that we plant, so that people know that this tree was planted by the city of Norwalk. So that was what the original thinking was. So then Peter took it a step further and said, well, why don't we make it more like a tag, so that it's actually tied with some kind of a ribbon or something around the tree, as opposed to just cluttering up space with lawn signs. So then we started kind of looking at that idea. Part of the issue is, I don't know, we just planted 230 trees. I can't imagine who's gonna stand there putting ribbon through and putting them all around the trees. It was my thinking that we would just give a pile of whatever it was to Olmsted, and when they planted, they would put it on the tree.
Well-
You know what I mean?
Well, I think like Washington Boulevard, we could just do ones at the end of the islands,
Yeah.
just a couple. And I do literally mean with a ribbon because it's color.
Right.
So,
Right.
but what logo do we want to put on it? So there's some graphic work.
Right,
I'm
so
not
there's the logo that I had approved for the newsletter. And so we could use that logo, and we should definitely say that this tree was planted by the Norwalk Tree Advisory Committee.
And
We have something similar that we've
Sure.
been doing, Jeff, here, for
Yeah,
the
why don't you, yeah,
MTA,
could you update him, Jeff, on that? Yeah.
Yeah, we have, we've been working through sort of a similar process of what to put on, like, what do we want our messaging to be?
Mhm.
And what we ended up coming up with was a QR code that would link to our website, and it would be an informational thing, and it would just be the name of the tree and say, hey, plant, it wouldn't even say planted by, it would just say the name of the tree, Latin and common name, and then it would be, you want to learn more about me, check it out. And then it was like a scan me QR code kind of thing. And then from there, it brings us to the website, whatever website you wanted. And then it gives a little bit of information on the tree, how many gallons of water do I soak up, X, Y, Z. And that way it's one way to
educate.
be interactive and also educate. And what we were thinking was there is like the massive task of all of these trees, but it could be a cool educational, like, hey, come walk and ID some trees, and get some volunteers to go out and put labels on trees. So that was our thought.
But
Just to
Jeff,
be
I think
aware
it's
that-
two different things too, in terms of the size. Yours was gonna be small, whereas Eric is talking more of an advertisement.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
ours were
I
going to
think
be
we-
like, we're like 3 by whatever.
Right,
you-
right.
you
There-
start at
I
long-term,
think
Jeff.
there are two different missions also. I mean,
Okay.
you're not supported by the city of Norwalk, and you're not like a free tree program that residents can take advantage of. And I think our
Right.
residents need to know about it. So I do appreciate, that information being
Yeah, I was going to say I could
associated
just
with
share
it
it
because,
graphically to you if you want.
yeah, I think, how long have you guys been doing that?
Well, we just, I guess, 2-3 months ago, we started designing it, and then we have to work on getting them printed and then identifying the trees and all that. So
Yep,
I
yep,
think you
yep.
guys
Still in the
even
process.
Just last week or two, the emails were going back and forth too, right?
But
yes.
what I think I'm envisioning is just something that as people are driving or walking by, it just says, very, that phrase, keep it simple. I just wanted to say tree planted by Tree Advisory Committee, Norwalk, City of Norwalk Tree Advisory Committee.
And for us,
Yeah.
I think this is temporary. This is 4 to 6 weeks. This doesn't say on the tree. You're thinking, I think something long-term, Jeff, or more.
Yeah, I was. So
This
I'm
is not-
sorry,
this is not
I was
this.
just piggybacking on what I was listening to and thought I was.
But
I
that
was
doesn't
trying to
mean we
follow
can't,
along.
doesn't mean we can't QR code it to our website where there's
Yeah.
information about the tree programming. So we have multiple levels here, but I think that this says, we just, we're gifting the city, we're improving the city, and this is who we are.
Mhm.
And go-
Exactly,
and come-
exactly.
and come forward with more. So it's
So
very,
it
it's very
doesn't
simple,
need to
stupid, but
be
important.
right, so it doesn't need to be a huge tag. I mean, I would keep it the size of a very basic lawn sign. Because those are, definitely large enough for people to see and read even driving by.
And this is a little bit smaller, and we're gonna make it smaller yet. You want to be able to see Tree Advisory Committee while you're driving by. You're walking, you get more information, fabulous.
Mhm, mhm.
So I think that's, and I'm sorry, I dropped the ball on that, but What else is new?
Yeah, so I think he was just waiting on the actual dimensions, so he could give us a proper price. And I think,
Proper price.
the timing is good because, we're getting so many trees in the ground. It would be nice to, come spring, tag those 230 or, whatever number of trees that makes sense. Obviously, if we put a cluster of 20 trees together, we don't have to put it on every single tree. But
200 is free.
exactly, but mhm.
Maybe
So
one of the four.
I think it's something that given the weather that's coming up, we could say that we want this this for the spring.
Well, it's
and
gonna
he
take us time to
has-
get the graphics right. It's just, it'll take the winter for us to sum it up and come up with the funding for that. So that's, fine.
Is this something you guys envision as being like reusable?
Yes.
Okay.
If they
Jeff-
don't do shattered.
Jeff,
we
just to
did
be
this- we
clear
did
too,
this
I
last
think
year.
yours was a small little like rectangle that would be more of a scientific tag versus an advertisement,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
We did
Understood.
this last year in Silvermine. I mean, every year we spend significant amount of money putting greens and bows on the Perry Avenue Bridge, James Street Bridge, Borglum Bridge, and the Silvermine signs. And it's a lot of effort for us, and we realized the community didn't know who was doing it. So last year is the first year we actually did a lawn site type application that says this is a gift of the Silvermine Community Association. It's not really a gift because their dues pay for that, but still, it's volunteer time and it's a significant amount of money.
But you could say the same thing. It's not really a gift. Our taxes pay for it, right? So I mean, but it's getting the word out and just keeping it super simple.
Right.
I can send the logo and I mean, it's definitely something I could do very easily and very quickly in December once the semester ends and I have a
You
little
mean
bit
January?
of, when the semester ends, I have a little bit of time. And but I'm just envisioning the logo that was approved for the newsletter and this tree was planted by City of Norwalk Tree Advisory Committee. And I think our website should be on there. I think a link to our website should be there for people to get more information.
Okay, so that was item number one. Item number two is just today I'm driving by and the Norwalk Inn and Conference Center clipped their trees again. They chopped those elms right down. So, I don't know. I'm not going to be the poster boy for meatballing trees because I'm not getting a lot of support in going after them. So you guys, the committee has to decide how much effort we go after this because I haven't seen any action in the past about going after trees that have been trimmed. So I don't know. I'll just put it on the agenda. I'm not asking for an answer tonight. I just like us to think about it and maybe we talk about it in January.
Maybe it's something that Paul, you can send an email to Chris as a tree warden.
Yeah,
What do you think? Is that
yeah,
something
I'll let
that,
Chris know, but it makes
I
a
mean,
difference
look,
with,
with the way that the Common Council approved the new tree ordinance, that is actually something that is taken more seriously. Remember, you had even a big part in that, Peter, when you were saying that, the tree.
They cut it out.
Yeah.
They took the wording
Oh.
out.
Oh,
You remember, I got a great deal of pushback. So
oh.
I'm a little bit reticent to keep pushing the issue. So I don't know, maybe the. trees
Paul,
aren't
can you
just
send Chris an email and copy Peter on it?
yeah, I'll send Chris an email. And Peter, these are definitely city trees or are they private trees?
They're the ones planted in front of the Norwalk Inn. When you drive by tomorrow, take a look, Paul. Make sure I'm not crazy because
I'll look at them.
took a
I'll look at
today,
them when I go home tonight.
And I got so annoyed, I just stopped looking.
Yeah.
That's the key thing is if they're city or private. And that's the key thing, but I'll take a look tonight and then I'll send the email accordingly.
Right, the ones
Yeah,
on Norwalk
take-
Green are not, they're private, they're first taxing district now. And I'll approach them independently and, as just as a landscape architect, but I'm just saying, if the committee doesn't want to keep going after this, I'm gonna stop being the pain in the tail.
Right. Do we have some literature that we can nicely drop off?
No, this is
yeah.
not gonna work. This is not working.
Yeah.
Defining, being nice is not working.
Right,
The only thing
okay,
is
okay.
we can't find if they're not city trees though.
Right.
And
Well,
if
okay,
they're-
so then, then you'll go by tonight, you'll make a determination. If they're city trees, you send Chris an email and copy Peter on it. I think that's the best way to go.
Exactly.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so we've gone through our entire agenda, but I do see that we have Jim from
Oak
Right.
Hills Park.
am I right, Jim from Oak Hills Park? How
Yeah,
are
sorry,
you?
sorry about that, guys. I'm so used to every meeting being at 7. I just automatically thought, which was a mistake, but here I am.
Okay, so you have the floor.
Okay, so everything's going pretty well at the course. We had submitted a replanting plan and a desirable list of tree removals that we would like to make. And so far, like this year, we've replanted 10 trees. One of them has actually broken in half and we're gonna replace it. But the first rainstorm got that one. But we are on schedule to continue with our replanting plan as needed. And, you know, hopefully in lieu of this replanting plan that I will be able to make some removals to, in order to improve the playing conditions on the golf course. We do have several trees on the property that are very near dead with bark peeling off. A couple that are have been hit by lightning and have storm damage, which probably should come down. Otherwise, you know, everything is a-okay. Leaf season has come and gone. Happy about that. Otherwise, we're in pretty good shape to try and set up with making progress on the golf course.
Sounds good, sounds good. And I think, you know, if there's anything that you think needs to come down, storm damage, potential, you know, dangerous tree, especially with the snow that's coming up and how heavy some of it can be weighting down on those branches,
Yep.
definitely reach out to Chris Torrey. He's the person, I'm sure you already know this, that would
Yep.
you know, evaluate and post anything and, you know, and work with you towards that. So it sounds good. And I understand that, you know, it's, you know, when you take down a tree, you plant a tree. So I think that that's, you know, a great practice. I mean, you know, we all agree that taking down like a large tree is not, you know, the same as planting a smaller tree, but there has to be some effort, right? We have to start somewhere. So,
Sure.
so I appreciate that you guys, you know, have, you know, agreed to at least do that. Does anybody have any questions for Jeff or anything? Okay, thank you.
I had a
Thank you.
quick question, actually.
Sure.
Is Oak Hills where the replanting plan under Eversource was going to be? I know that was a topic last
There-
meeting, but
Yes.
There is something, I think, in the works still. It's still being negotiated, so to speak.
Peter,
to,
Peter and I have gone over the plan that Peter had put together and gone back to Eversource, and Eversource has now come back with a counter offer again, which Peter, I'll let you mention what you had said to me.
Yeah, they basically haven't made much movement, and it wasn't that we expected a great deal of added plant material. I've expected them at least to have changed their species, because there's no cost differential between the plant palette we put forward and some of the things that they were willing to put in, but they were more ornamental, and we're looking to move to a more native palette. And so it was a little disturbing that they hadn't made that minor jump. We did not expect them to do all the heavy tree planting, but we do expect them to at least change the varieties and species that we had under the wires where they made the most disruption. So, you know, I don't think we were asking for a great deal other than slightly a mindset shift in what needs to get planted in these locations. And it was a little annoying that it was met with such a, basically they just re-gave us the same plan they gave us before, okay? And that gave no thought, and they gave us a great deal of sort of technical, how you plant a tree, well, that's eyewash to me, because that's all very standard. You know, that doesn't take any effort. We cut and paste that all the time.
So
So,
Peter and I talked about that just the other day, and I've since gone back now and asked them to see if they can double back again and come back with a better offer.
and so Jeff, in terms of the strategy for that, the plant materials we are looking at for that are native pollinators that are not necessarily herbaceous, because the herbaceous materials are very hard to maintain with management staffing, but things like witch hazel are not. You know, and they still fit the bill of native species, you know, and pollinators. So we're looking to do a slightly different palette to sort of achieve the same objectives that your neighborhoods want to see in the park, and still look
Yeah,
somewhat ornamental.
I
And
just
also-
wanted to bring it up because I know that, and I'm not part of the negotiation part, but just as in Peter's, I'm a landscape architect as well. So in Peter's landscape architecture defense, it looks like they came from more smaller ornamental trees. I'm sorry, more smaller flowering pollination trees to larger shrubs. And I was like, maybe we were going for more trees, but they came back with some shrubs. So that was all.
They came back with
So,
viburnums. They
Yeah.
came back with the ornamental viburnums, which they had in the plow in the first place.
And that was one of the things when Peter put this together too, Jim, he was trying to keep the idea of maintenance in mind too. So we're doubling back again with them to try and get them to do a better planting than what they've come back with.
Okay,
So it's a counter offer to the counter offer.
right.
But it's basically the two of you working with one or two people over at Eversource. So there's at least consistency with the players. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's important because, you know, we all know about too many cooks in the kitchen, right?
I keep it simple. So
Okay, sounds good. Anything else, guys?
on a positive note, Wall Street's getting its first Christmas tree that I've ever seen here in 17 years I've been on the street. Evidently, we're getting a tree at the Plaza on Riverview and Wall Street for celebrating the holiday. There would be a ceremony on the 29th. Much like South Norwalk, it's the, you know, Christmas tree downtown, and First District's puts a tree up on the green. We're getting a tree downtown. But I also have to say, if you haven't seen it, First District has actually put a grove of Christmas trees on the island in front of the library. They put about 14 trees up, white lights. They've been doing this now this 4th year in a row. It actually is quite nice. It's quite sophisticated in a way that the city kind of deserves.
Mhm.
So if you haven't take a ride by Wall in Belden, I think you'll enjoy it.
And that's the 28th, you said that.
The
29th.
29th.
The 29th, okay.
And can I repeat, because Jim wasn't here, December 11th, 4 to 6 p.m. at Fodor Farm, NTA, the Norwalk Tree Alliance is having their annual Fodor Farm open house and Friendsgiving. So it's a fun event, just open the invite to everybody. So
Sounds good.
Good.
And the 29th is exactly a week from today. It's next Tuesday. Okay, sounds good. Well, I want to take this opportunity to wish everyone an absolutely amazing Thanksgiving. Have, you know, a fantastic time with friends and family and some much deserved kind of downtime eating food without calorie counting. So
Happy
I move
Thanksgiving.
to happy
Happy Thanksgiving.
I move to adjourn.
All good.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Good night.
thank
Good
you.
night,
See you in
guys.
January. See you in
Take
January.
care.
There
Nice
is
to
no
meet
dis-
you, Jim.
Nice holiday.